Hey there, I'm Ashley, and this is New Day with Ashley. If you're looking for inspiration to make a difference and create lasting impact, then you're in the right place. Get ready to be encouraged by the stories of my guests who have taken risks, overcome challenges, and created opportunities. It's time to make the most of your new day. My guest today is no stranger to taking risks or being the first. Vivian Weiwei Fellman is a first-generation immigrant entrepreneur from China. She's the founder of Kota Botanics, a premium hemp, CBD, and plant-based health supplements company. Vivian and her team are on a mission to help people improve their mental and physical wellness to live a life of happiness and longevity. That has helped, you mentioned that. This is something that's helped me. Was there like a certain stressor that kind of happened, or was it just general life stress and you're like, what is out there to help me combat this, that kind of started you on this?
Yes. So I think, you and I connected before.
Yeah.
I shared a little bit about my story, how I developed a panic attacks and anxiety issue, purely because after the birth of my second boy, Patrick, we spent 4 weeks in NICU in Minneapolis, Minnesota Children's Hospital. Patrick was born with a heart condition called pulmonary atresia. Basically, one of his heart valve was not opening, so he had to be airlifted right after my C-section to Minneapolis to be perform a procedure on his heart. And I was discharged after 24 hours of my surgery, which is not normal, because usually when you have a C-section, you got to wait for at least 48 hours. It's a major surgery, right? You got cut open. So I was able to convince my OBGYN, said, let me go. I need to be in Minneapolis with Patrick when he, get this procedure done. And my doctor was kind enough to release me, and my in-laws drove me and my back then 2-year-old Eddie to Minneapolis. We ended up spending 4 weeks there, and then during the 4-week stay, I had to pump every other hour, so there was no sleep for me, and there's like tremendous amount of pressure staying in the NICU. I mean, honestly, Patrick was the only one who's a mature baby. The rest of them are all preemies, and then some of them didn't make it. You just saw the parents crying, sobbing right in front of you. And, that level of mental stress was just enormous for me. So I started developing panic attack syndrome. When it happened, my hands were shaking. I was sweating, like soaked my shirt. And I almost blacked out a couple of times. Wow. So when that happened, I just could not function. But it didn't happen every single day. It happened there and here. When it happened, I just could not function. So I was looking for ways to manage it or find a remedy. My doctor was like, I really don't want to put you on prescription drugs. In general, your health is pretty good. Maybe you can try meditate, yoga. And I was like, I'm a runner. I teach cycling class. I love intensive,
like
cardio workout.
Yeah.
And I just cannot sit down and then just meditate. So that didn't work. And I also tried essential oil. It didn't work either. And then one day I saw the news. On the news, it says, CBD is anti-inflammatory and anti-anxiety, anti-PTSD, and does not give you a high. And it's federally legal after 2018 federal government passed the Farm Bill. So a lot of information just you start seeing in the media. And then I remember the first CBD store opened in Moorhead, not even in Fargo. And I went to see them, and I just was not convinced with the quality of the product I was seeing. And also I was not, did not understand what they were talking about.
Sure.
Because back then they were really focusing on the technology part rather than educating me or walking me through A to Z, the basics, the foundations of it. What is CBD, first of all?
Right.
And how does it work? Why it works? What are the side effects out there could be? How do you use it? Just a lot of these things that people as a customer, you will ask. And then, back then I wasn't able to get those information. So I ended up walking away and then just kept doing more research, eventually found a brand, very reputable brand in Colorado. Pick up the phone, talk to them for about 40 minutes. They really pay attention to, helping me understand all the basics. Sure. Because it is a taboo. Even now, we've been in business for 3 years. We still have new customers come in feeling very timid and just afraid, like, what is this?
Is this legal?
Is this legal? Am I going to get high? You see those scenarios all the time. Sure. So that's why me and my team are still very passionate about education, talking to them, literally spending time with new customers to make sure that you are safe. This is not something will give you euphoria, but really will improve your life quality a lot.
Sure.
So, I mean, CBD is not the only way to help with people, with their anxiety or pain, but it is a good alternative. If you try other ways, they haven't worked for you. So,
well, and I guess like for you, for instance, you had tried other things and nothing had worked, and so I can understand why you would be so passionate about it. Of like, this helped me in some of those dark times.
Yes, absolutely.
Or, not dark maybe, but scary times.
Yes, absolutely. We have so many, honestly, so many testimonials that we can share, that a lot of people were super skeptical when they first walked in the door. After an hour, 2 hours conversation, they bought a tiny, smallest size of Prada, just went home and try. And then literally next day, they came back in with a smile on their face and then say, I am so happy that I found your store. And for the first time in years, I could finally sleep through the night without feeling my back pain, like that. Yeah. So it just, that kind of situation, it was so rewarding for us. That's just literally our mission and why we're doing this, literally trying to help people to feel better every day. And then nothing makes me more happier than the happy customers returning and say, hey, sure, the little CBD you gave me really worked.
Sure, yeah, because you know what impact it had on your own personal life. Kota Botanics too. Where did that name come from?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So initially, I was trying to find a name that has a K sound in there. I was listening to a podcast called How I Built This, and one of the episodes was the founder of Spanx, Sarah Blakely. She said when she was trying to start her business, somebody told her, in order for your business to be memorable, it has to have a K sound in there. For example, Coca-Cola, Kodak, so that's why she came out with Spanx. And then for me, I was like, okay, K, Dakota. So I was okay, well, I'm in Fargo, Dakota will make sense. So I know that we wanted to stay with plant-based image. So it has always been botanical, organic, things like that. And then I searched Dakota Botanics. Initially, it was tied to registered by a fertilizer company. Oh. So it couldn't work. And I was like, okay, what about, Kota? And then I Googled it. So Kota, it's not really an English word, but in Japanese, it means longevity and happiness. And kotabotanics.com was available for registration, as well as the business name for registration. So I was like, that's it, be kind, be happy has always been our hashtag. With the plant-based medicines, you can be a better place with longevity and happiness. Right. So that's how Kota Botanics came up.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've heard that podcast too. I listened to it. And I remember her talking about that too. So it's like, that's very interesting. So I'm glad that, I didn't know that. So I saw that it was happiness and longevity. And so I thought, interesting.
Yep.
So, you, I guess, experienced that there was maybe a business need in the market of, maybe more education is needed around this, a different experience in a store. What challenges? I mean, I imagine it was a big risk getting your store, a brick and mortar, when some places are moving away from that. But what have been some of the biggest challenges you've faced?
I would say the biggest challenge we have ever faced is to figure out a way to safely advertise or market the product, because CBD, unfortunately, especially hemp, still being categorized as a how do I say this, illegal product category for with Facebook. just lately, I know a lot of social media platforms, they would not allow you to advertise CBD. In general. Wow. But I was approached by Pinterest the other day, asking us to do advertising with them. And I was like, well, didn't you guys, restrict that? They said, oh, things changed and now we're easing up that restriction. So that's a good sign, but still, it's very, very hard to do marketing around CBD. There are so many words we cannot say, or we cannot write on our blog, or it's just a lot of red flags that the government agencies are giving you, which is very unfortunate. It's just, because when federal government passed the Farm Bill in 2018, CBD was taken off the Schedule 1 substance list. So it should be legal. It should be fine to talk about it, right? But then again, there are so many red lines over that, and just like, no, you cannot say this, you cannot say that. You cannot say pain. You cannot, mention or write inflammation, anything that CBD can help you with. You just cannot mention it.
Sure.
So like, okay, then how do we say? What do we say? It's such a headache. I mean, because of that, I lost my advertising account with Facebook. I was permanently restricted by them because according to them,
had
violations. Yeah. I'm like, are you serious? And I was like, you know what? That's fine. You don't want my money. That's totally fine. I don't need to do advertising with you. But it's just sometimes you see like some, these red lines are just very, very frustrating.
Sure.
Back to what you mentioned earlier, brick and mortar business model, actually, I wanted to say something about is that because when I first wanted to start it, I talked to my husband he has a lot of good ideas in terms of marketing and sales. He was very against me opening a brick and mortar, but in his opinion, there are too much overhead costs.
Sure.
Your rent, utility, it's just too much.
Have an employee there.
Employees, exactly. But for me, I was like, I need to have a brick and mortar because this is such a niche product. People needs to come in and see you're real. And this is not something you would just order online. I mean, yes, there are some businesses that are only selling online, but this product requires a lot of education, a lot of, people will have a lot of questions for you. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to do everything online.
Right.
That's why I still work there several hours a day. I love talking to our customers, help educating them. Because of that, I went against his will to insist that I need to have a brick and mortar.
Sure.
Because this is just...
You challenged him a bit there, yeah.
I challenged him a little bit. He loves me, and he's like, okay,
whatever
fine,
you want, honey. Yeah.
But it turns out it was a great idea because right now, when we launched our business, we launched brick and mortar. At the same time, we launched our e-commerce tool, sure. Which turns out is a huge strategic move for us because guess what? We opened the door in November 2019. And then January, the global pandemic happened. And literally on 32nd Avenue, there was no car you were seeing around.
Wow.
So because our e-commerce is available and then people start ordering online, I just literally start picking up, packing orders, just start driving around the town to deliver, which saved our business out of that. Because I saw a lot of people had to close their doors because pandemic, there were no customers coming to visit you, and they did not have the e-commerce site.
Sure.
So they cannot do business there. And then, but us, we had brick and mortar. We also had e-commerce. Yeah. So now we have our second brick and mortar in Minneapolis now. Yeah. So which is, still, I think retail will still keep going. Just really depends on, the service you're providing to your customers and what kind of products you're selling. And for products like this, it's really related to your wellness. I think, that's why people still love coming to our store to talk to us these days, rather than just do everything online. We have so many people say, I need to come in and see you and talk to you. Or someone, like my husband needs to come to your store and talk to you guys about his, this issue and that issue. So with having a brick and mortar really helped a lot.
Wow, what a great episode. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always so inspiring sharing these stories. To listen to the full podcast, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. Remember to like and subscribe. I would love if you could leave me a 5-star review. This helps us reach and engage with more people. Join me next week, and until then, make the most of your new day.